Right here, I want to talk about Dak Prescott. Man, had a weird opportunity, a unique opportunity, I should say, to interview Dak Prescott today. It was for an event for Ford, and it was at the House of Blues. And they'd asked if I'd go interview Dak Prescott in the middle of some meetings that they were having. And so I did, and I went down there early this morning, and it was a pretty cool experience. I got to meet Dak early and visit with him a little bit, and then we kind of went out there and had this conversation. And basically, he had an amazing impact on me just in the short visit we had. Everything you've ever heard about him and his character being off the charts and his makeup and all that, it's all on the money. It's all incredibly accurate, and it's not an act. It's not like he says, okay, well, now I'm about to deal with the media at a podium or at my locker, so now I better act a certain way. It's just the way he's wired, man. That dude had exceptional parents.
So how did this work? Did he do like a speech or something, or was it all Q&A?
It was all Q&A.
So describe how it went down.
So they're having their meetings, and the Ford guys are talking, and they're like, hey, and now to kick off Truck Month, we're gonna get things going, and we got a special guest. They've had other special guests in the past. They've had Rick Carlisle, and they've had Michael Irvin, and this year they had Dak Prescott. And so we had been talking for about 15 minutes off to the side, and then they kind of moved us to a table next to the main stage at House of Blues, and we're sitting at this round table. And it was funny because we're sitting there, and we're kind of in this boat together that we're just waiting for our chance to go up there. And we start looking up on the stage, and we don't see any chairs. And so he goes, hey, man, are we about to go up there and stand for 20 minutes? I go, I don't know. I thought there was going to be chairs up there. And he's like, do you want to take these chairs with us that we're sitting in? I was like, yeah, I guess we could do that.
That's leadership.
Yeah. And so we're like, all right, so when we get called up, he goes, because he pointed at his knee, he goes, man, I just had this done or something. He had something done. I don't know what he was talking about.
Probably arthroscopic.
Yeah, something.
Just a little scope.
A scope or something. But he's like, man, I just had this done. Let's take these chairs up there. And so they introduced Dak Prescott, and the place went crazy. And then they were like, oh, yeah, we got to introduce this other guy. They're going to be talking to him. So they introduced me, and I'll play that for you here in a second. But we started taking our chairs. Well, they'd seated us at a table that people had already been sitting at. So he and I are both taking jackets and purses off the chair we were sitting in to kind of, and then he goes, does this fold up? And I'm like, while we're being introduced, and we still have to walk up some steps to get to the stage. And so he goes, no, it's not enough time. Let's blow it off. So he's already running the show. He's like, no, we're good. Let's just leave him. So we were going to walk up there with nowhere to sit. And then all of a sudden they walk out with some stools and set them down there. So we're like, nice. So the guy, I mean, obviously there was a ton of excitement for Dak, not as much excitement for me, and which is crazy. But the actual, and Ford was great, man. They were fantastic. They rolled out the red carpet. It was an awesome event. But the actual guy who actually introduced me from our show, I don't think he was that familiar with our particular show. So I think we've got a drop here forever. Do you have the intro part?
I've actually combined it to the first cut there, so it's got the intro as well.
All right, here's cut number 1.
And so we are just excited to have Dak with us today. We also have Ben Rogers of the Ben Rogers and Skin Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dak Prescott.
All right, so hold on one second, Shippy. So the Ben Rogers and Skin Show.
Awesome.
Which I think we should rename this. I like that.
You've brought that up in many meetings.
I think now it's time. But honestly, so they had prepared like 5 questions that they wanted me to ask. And, I should also say this. They were like, hey, don't get into any Romo stuff. And I guess I don't know whose idea that was. And so when I was talking to him prior to the thing, I was like, so no, I know Romo stuff. He goes, why? He goes, no, you can ask me anything.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's like, anything you want. Absolutely, fire away. So I got up there, and I had their questions on a sheet of paper or on my phone, and I had some questions I'd prepared on paper. And then I just finished visiting with him where he had this unbelievable, made this amazing impression as a human being. And so I get out here, and I kind of screw up the first question or whatever, but he made it easy.
We were just sitting there talking for just a little bit of time, and it's
So many of the things that people have said about you are so obvious when you're just having a simple conversation with this young man. You were the beneficiary of some fantastic parenting. What can you tell us about?
Yeah, you could better. I was just the beneficiary of a great mother who instilled great values, hard working, being tough, putting other people before me, being as selfless as I can. And I mean, it's paid off for me. My mom told me when she got sick to let her be my story. And at that time, I guess I'm 18 or so, and she's telling me she's sick and she wants me to be her story. I'm like, I don't need a story if that means you're sick. But fast forward, 22 years old. I hope I can be her story and just show what a great mom she was.
Man, I've heard him say that phrase before, use me as your story. His mom say that. I always thought that was pretty fascinating and a lot of, I don't know, just foresight on her part. I mean, it's sort of, not to get too, I don't know, overly dramatic with this, but it's, in a lot of ways, it's like, you know, let me die for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to take it that extreme, but that's sort of what she's implying. Let me be your story. All the great ones have one. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. And man, again, he's so sincere and it's so authentic. It just has this amazing impression on you. I'm just blown away. And at one point, we were talking about how, you know, Ford has been the number one selling truck in Texas for 4 years. And he looked over at me and he goes, I'm 23. I'm like, that's amazing. So here's, as we're getting up and running, and I put it out there on Twitter, if anybody had any other questions. And somebody had sent something that I somehow had missed, that he still texts his mom.
Every Saturday.
So I had missed that. I didn't know that. So when my dad passed away in 2005, I would find myself talking to my dad in the car. If there was some reason I wanted to call, just start talking to him while I was driving the car. People were looking at me like I'm crazy. I'd not anything like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I wasn't sure. I wasn't positive if that was the case. So as I started.
Welcome to an off-season edition of Star Chat alongside the award-winning Kevin Turner at KT Fun Tweets. I'm Jared Sandler at Sandler J. This is our first.
All right. Earlier today, I had a real cool opportunity. Stop it. Opportunity to interview Dak. All right. Earlier today, I had a real cool opportunity. Stop it. Opportunity to interview Dak Prescott. This was a pretty neat thing. It was just totally random. Our friends at Ford invited me to come out, and
Texas.
They had their some big meetings going on at the House of Blues, and they're getting everybody fired up. They got Truck Month coming up and celebrating 40 years of being number one and selling trucks, and so they're like having this big deal. A couple years ago, it was Rick Carlisle came and spoke at this meeting. Last year, the Playmaker came and spoke, and this year it was Dak Prescott. So through a random turn of events, I got to go and interview Dak. So essentially, had a one-on-one with him, and we're airing the audio here. Guys, we'll put it all out on a podcast together later if you follow him.
Preparing himself for questions like these. I mean, that sounds extreme, but I think to go where he wants to go, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if he's thought through all these answers before and all the different ways he could be asked these questions so he doesn't put himself in an awkward position.
Man, I love how, you know, we're sitting here talking about a guy who's 23, and we're talking about what an amazing season he had and how unlikely it was. And you immediately go to, after having this incredible season, you ask him, you know, what his goals are. And his first thing he says, all I care about is win a Super Bowl. He's like, I don't care what happens to me. I don't care about my stats. I don't care about personal accolades. I want to win a Super Bowl. And that's it. That's the only way I want to be measured. That's pretty fantastic. For 23, when I was 23, if I'd just done something miraculous like that, hell, I would have done it if I hadn't done anything miraculous. Be like, bro, check me out. Fur coats 24/7. I sleep in sunglasses. What up?